Does your child need modifications in the classroom? And how on earth do you get the whole team on board with providing those modifications? Welcome back to the Harkla YouTube channel. We're so happy to have you. I'm Rachel.
And I'm Jessica. We are the Certified Occupational Therapy Assistants at Harkla, and we are going to dive into modifications in the classroom and some tips and tricks for getting the entire team on board to help your students, your child. But first, make sure you are subscribed to the Harkla YouTube channel. Make sure you click on the bell so you never miss a new video. And if you find that this video is helpful, click the like button.
All right, so what are modifications in the classroom? They are little changes, little adaptations, little switches that you make in order to help a child just be more successful at school with their academics.
Now, here are some signs to know if your student needs modifications in the classroom. The first one is if they are struggling with focus and attention during structured learning tasks.
Also, if they have anxiety at school or about going to school.
If they are sensory sensitive, so maybe the lights are overwhelming or they're sensitive to too much noise.
Also, if they're sensory seeking, so they are on the go, moving, grooving, constantly trying to get more input, and it's distracting the class.
Also, if your child has a diagnosis of autism, ADHD, or learning disability, they might benefit from modifications in the classroom.
So what types of modifications and adaptations can we implement or recommend? Things like seating modifications. So providing some adaptive seating options like a wiggle seat, an angled wedge, a therapy ball for them to sit on, a T-stool, or maybe even a standing desk. I ran out of fingers. A standing desk, or letting them stand at the whiteboard or at the wall and write in a standing position.
The next one would be to change the lighting in the classroom. So many classrooms have the fluorescent overhead lights that can be very overwhelming, and research shows that natural lighting or lower watt lamps can be more beneficial in a classroom setting. So you can get covers for those fluorescent lights in your classroom if needed. Amazon has some different options, or if you can turn those lights off and provide some lamps in the classroom, or best of all, if possible, having windows with natural light coming in.
Another modification is to set up a sensory corner in the classroom and allow the students to naturally go and take a little brain break in this sensory corner. So this could be a little space in the room that has a beanbag chair, a wiggle seat, a cozy little play couch on the floor with some visuals of calming activities and mindful strategies, as well as some sensory strategies that are regulating fidgets or bubbles or chewing gum, sour spray, some little visual bubble timers, a disco ball, noise canceling headphones, maybe a sit and spin so they can spin and move, or a wobble chair where they can wobble and rock and get some input that way. But it needs to be accessible. There needs to be boundaries and visual schedules and visual timers to know how long a child can stay there and take a break and then redirect back to the classroom at the appropriate time.
Another modification would be to add some type of auditory input to the background during focus tasks. This could be a metronome at 60 beats per minute, a brown noise machine, or some instrumental classical music that are designed to help with focus and attention during these seated activities. Now, I said brown noise, not white noise, because it sounds weird. It
does sound weird.
Because brown noise is not like that static that white noise produces, but instead it's more of like a waterfall type of noise, which can actually be more beneficial during those focus activities.
And then a few other modifications are adding those sensory breaks into the daily routine as well. This can be simple, simple, simple. Go get a drink of water, go to the bathroom, go to the library, take the books back to the library, bring some new books back, go outside, change of scene, look outside, go upside down, bounce 5 times on the therapy ball. We're thinking quick, simple breaks, changes of scene in order to kind of reset the nervous system so that way when they come back, they can sit down and focus for a longer period of time.
Now, really quick before we leave you today, we want to talk just briefly about getting the entire team on board when incorporating these modifications into the classroom. So if you are a parent or a therapist and your child benefits from these modifications in the classroom, how do you get the teacher on board implementing them? The first thing there is to address the pain point. So if your student is really struggling in the classroom, you can meet with the teacher and talk about the challenges that the teacher is also seeing and introduce some of these modification ideas and ask the teacher what they can include into the daily routine to help your child. Most teachers, their schedules are busy, they have lots of students, but ultimately they want all of their students to succeed. So bring it to them as a team. Say, I want what's best for my child. I know you want what's best for my child as well. Here are the things that I think would be really beneficial. What could you implement into the day? Can we try one of these things for a week and see if it helps?
Yeah, and make sure that you get all of this in writing too. That way they can see exactly what they should be implementing and they can keep track, or they can document what's working and what's not working. So maybe you have the child sit on a therapy ball during those times of the day when they are struggling to focus, and they can just take a brief note and say, it helped today, it didn't help today. It helped today, it didn't help today. And you can just have them get a little bit of data for you if that's possible. And try something different if it's not working. They went to the sensory corner in our classroom, 3 times today on their own, and they redirected back to our activities independently, and it really helped. So you can see that it's working, they can see that it's working, and ultimately, if we need to make modifications for multiple students, it will be helpful to have that open line of communication and have those tools accessible in the classroom for all students.
Now, if this video was helpful and you enjoyed it and you're like, I would like more information on all of these things that you just talked about, we do have a full digital course. It is our Improving Focus and Behavior in the Classroom. It is designed for teachers and educators, therapists working in the schools, but we've heard feedback from lots of parents who also found it beneficial. We will link all of the information for that digital course below.
Make sure you listen to our podcast as well. It's All Things Sensory by Harkla. We talk about topics like these: success in the classroom, sensory strategies in the classroom, and so many more. You can find that on all major podcast platforms.
And make sure you are following us on Instagram. We're at Harkla_family, as well as at All Things Sensory Podcast.
And with that, we'll plan on seeing you next week for another video.
Okay, bye.